Hi, this is Herman from Austria. I'm managing director of Besurance, company specialized in embedded insurance solutions. Very interesting issues always on InsurTech Business Series podcast. I can highly recommend to tune in.
Welcome to the InsurTech Business Series podcast. I am Fulumi.
And I am Damola. And together, we host the most exciting podcast on insurance and InsurTech related topics in Africa. Stay tuned.
Hi, Herman.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Oh, great. Same here. How are you doing today?
Great. Had a nice day and looking forward for our discussion here.
That's awesome. Same here.
Is it possible that you tell us about yourself? I mean, apart from the fact that I know that you are Herman and you
All right.
like to learn about Herman.
All right. So after university, where I finished an MBA in business administration, I worked for Social Security in healthcare. After that, the next 20 years, I worked myself up in one of the largest insurance companies in Austria, starting due to my previous work in health insurance, moving to life insurance, and then to sales. I ended up as a member of the board, responsible for P&C, and then sales. Finally, I quitted my job and started the education on digital sales and digital change processes in Oxford and Chicago. And since then, since 2 years, I'm now managing director of Besurance, an InsurTech specialized in embedded insurance based in Vienna, but I hope we will talk about that later.
What jumps up to me is you moving from, like you say, legacy based insurance.
Yeah, very old, very conservative insurance company.
I mean, how are you able to do that? Because, one of the issues that InsurTechs, who we have spoken with have is, having that, let's say, language barrier, of, okay, this is how we can be. Mm-hmm. How do you transition, between those two worlds?
Well, I was always very interested in digitalization and was always frustrated that these incumbents don't move. So finally I got to a point where I said, well, I have to change that and try also to be part of the change of that industry. And that led to my quitting the job and getting education, decent education on that issue. And then finally, good enough, I found an InsurTech to connect with. And I see also that it's helping a lot to know something about insurance, even in an InsurTech.
Yeah, absolutely. So, can you give us a picture of, what the Austrian insurance and InsurTech space is like?
Yeah. I'm happy to do so. First of all, I have to say that I'm a little bit ashamed talking about the size of Austria, then, because I realized that only Lagos has about 15 million inhabitants. Is that true?
Yeah. Absolutely.
So just bear in mind, Austria has 8.9 million inhabitants altogether. Wow. You see, that's quite small, but we are the eighth highest GDP per capita in Europe.
Wow.
So that's we're pretty good on economical terms. And as most of European countries, Austria faces a saturated insurance market. Growth was 1.5%, in P&C 2.6% last year. So you see a low growth rates. And the Austrian insurance market is also pretty concentrated. 3 companies collect more than 50% of the premiums. The premiums are divided amongst 50 million contracts with a sum of 18 billion euro. would be 2,000 euro per capita, which is quite a lot. So that's also one of the reasons there's very little room for growth. And as the market is so concentrated and saturated, digitalization is very low. Policies are still sent by post. Aggregators play a minor role. And to sum it up, it seems that insurance companies in Austria are at least 20 years behind banks in digitalization. So that leads us to InsurTechs. There are some very fine examples of those in Austria now. Just to mention our colleagues from Riskin, which they help insurers to digitalize their sales. Banino, who digitalize company pension schemes, and last but not least, Besurance. So there is a lot of room for getting those incumbents a little bit more modern.
I like the fact that you mentioned this because this is something that we are trying to, maneuver currently in Nigeria. So having seen all of these challenges, how have you been able to use Besurance to, cater to this market? I know that you've identified the gaps, but how have you been able to use your organization to try to mitigate and, bridge that part?
Well, what we are offering is, I don't know much about the Nigerian insurance market. The only things I know that it seems that they are pretty far advanced in their digitalization if you compare it to Austria. But in Austria, for example, the stuff we do is embedded insurance. For example, you need real-time policy issuing, which none of the insurers is able to do. So in some cases, even the insurers ask us to provide them the IT services to do so. And in other cases, we come with the client and with a full project and just look for coverage. So that's how we try to get into that market and to try to get this idea of embedded insurance running.
That's interesting that you said that. And I mean, where does COVID-19, come into all of this? Looking at how the pandemic has really affected the industry worldwide, from the Austrian perspective.
Yeah,
right?
Definitely.
How has it? What has changed? Did you need to wait for COVID to do that?
Yeah, just bear in mind that then in Austria last April we were somehow, locked up. There was a complete lockup, and internet sales were skyrocketing. It was unbelievable. So even the most conservative insurers realized they have to change something in their sales offerings, and they're now trying to do so, but due to their old IT systems and their legacy, it's very, very hard for them. And also that customers are now used to very good ways of buying things, very easy ways, and they don't want to have paper. They don't want to have boring conversations with a broker for a simple insurance. They want it on their fingertip. Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of customer experience there, right? That's something that, personally, I have seen that has really changed. A lot of insurance companies are now more conscious about that, right? Maybe we can even start with, the whole idea about embedded insurance. You said, insurers are now asking that, how can you help us digitize, or how can you help us be more, get more access to our customers, since, we can't do that because of COVID. As I'm not a thief, I always refer to where I'm stealing. And there is a wonderful article which I can highly recommend by Simon Torrance. You could look it up at LinkedIn. So embedded insurance is about getting affordable, relevant, and personalized insurance to people when and where they need it most. And that's on the point of sale. That's what we try to do. It also enables insurance to be offered on different places and get it seamless into the customer journey. That's very important. For insurers, it creates lower cost of distribution. And for third-party organizations, embedded insurance could be a plus in their value proposition and create new revenue streams. And for the clients, it's simply very, very easygoing insurance, easy within the buying process. So that's what Besurance is all about. We try to have fair and relevant, easily accessible insurance on the point of sale. That's what we try to introduce into the market. And don't forget that insurance, no matter how nice you do it and no matter how good the customer journey is, insurance in itself is a very, very boring product. So we think that embedded insurance is a way to bypass that problem. Because if you don't do that, you have to spend a lot of money on sales or on advertisement to get people interested in, because it's, everybody wants to look up, I don't know, his new car, his new bike, his new shoes, but nobody wants to look up his new insurance.
Absolutely. I agree with you. I mean, one of the ways that we've clamored for is, embedded insurance. But this doesn't exactly come easy, or it doesn't come cheap. It comes with, some challenges where, not exactly want to be a part of those embedded insurance, especially when the technical knowledge on how to, technical knowledge about insurance, more or less like feeling like they've been ripped off, or rather than seeing it from a perspective of added service. Like, are there cases where you've had some of these challenges, especially with your clients and connecting them through APIs?
Well, we had some issues in clients who didn't understand what insurance is for. Just to give you quite a funny example, we had one company who sold hair, and they wanted an insurance that if their product doesn't work, the insurance would pay. So of course it was impossible for us to get a coverage for that. But most of our clients do understand that our proposition, or the insurance proposition, will help to sell their product. I mean, an insured bike is a better bike than an uninsured bike. If we hopefully have the chance to give you some examples, we are a ski nation. So if you go skiing, it's better to have an accident insurance than to have none. So all those things are helping the product get better, but of course there is a lot of discussion necessary to convince our clients.
Just on the point of products, right? And you mentioned, you're a ski nation, and being able to put the insurance solution, at the point where the customer is booking a skiing appointment or things like that, makes a lot of sense. Why not buy an insurance, like an accident insurance? So, I mean, it's a risk that they are aware of that it could happen, right? So being able to have something that, in case it happens, maybe the expenses, from going to the hospital will be taken care of by the insurance company. In some of these things, you would need that, some of the products that we have currently, maybe they'll be redesigned, or we need to design new ones, right? But I'm speaking more to the point about, when you're designing digital products, you want something that is simple, that is easy to understand, and insurance being a product that has been in existence for a long time and is highly regulated, and there's so many parts to it. So how do you get that balance of, creating something that is simple, that is easy, but then also is adequate information?
You're referring to a very important thing in the work we do. Half of our work with insurers is to convince them that the product has to be very lean and easy. Don't forget that more than 90%, I don't know, maybe 99% of the insurance in Austria are sold via agents, either brokers or employed agents. And of course, over the last 50 years, the products were made more and more complicated and complex so that the agent has something to tell to the client. And what we are now trying to do is to do the opposite of that. We try to make the products very easy and lean, because in a digital process, you can't take questions, you can't answer the client, and the client should know with a glimpse of his eye what it is about. And therefore, that's an important part to convince the insurers that they have to strip down completely their products.
And when you say strip down completely their products, could you further elucidate on that?
To give you one example, we implemented a dental insurance which is sold with a toothbrush. So of course, dental insurance is quite a complex and expensive product, and we cut off everything to make it easy and not so expensive for this case, to be sold with a toothbrush. And at the end, it was we came out with a parametric dental insurance which pays only a very small part of the original product. And of course, just this example with the ski pass, the accident insurance is also, you get a sum when there is an accident. That's it.
Okay, so how does this work, especially with B'Sharon's model? Do you have customers, for instance, direct customers, come to meet you for claims payments? Or do they go directly to organizations that you probably partner with, or to lay claims to of these policies that they are, or insurance services that has been embedded in some of their product binds or some of the services that they enjoy?
Yeah, we only do B2B business. We don't have any B2C business, not at all. Our clients are large retailers, commodities, banks, stuff like that. And the usual thing is that we do all the administration for the insurer, because they are usually not able to do so. And in that process, we also discuss, in some cases, the product. In some cases, we use products from the shelf, of course, like warranty extension. There's not much to strip down there. That's easy enough.
That's very interesting. Going back to your previous comment, you talked about parametric dental insurance. That's an interesting combination. How can you tell us a bit about that product? Especially, parametrics is an interesting prospect that we are definitely trying to see use cases.
All right. So in that case, we also did it to show that we're able to do parametric insurance, but it was quite a nice product. You buy a toothbrush, and the toothbrushes are nearly all the same. In that case, the big advantage is their software, and they have a software which helps you to brush your teeth properly. Okay. And it also gets data how you brush your teeth, if you brush them long enough on. And due to that, you collect some points. And if there are enough points, you get a higher value for your dental hygienist. That's That's the kind of offering. And of course, everything is done digital. We get the data from a client, and if the end client claims he's the dental hygienist, we calculate on the basis of the points he earned during his toothbrushing.
Hey, this is Brian Falchuk from Boston, Massachusetts in the United States of America. I want to give a shout out to the InsurTech Business Series, Falumi and Damola. What you are doing to help move the industry forward in the African continent, but also more broadly for the industry at large, is so incredibly important. As I think about the future of our industry, it's conversations like the ones you're having that will help us move forward. So congratulations on the success of the show. Please keep at it.
Wow, that's quite interesting.
It should motivate the clients to brush their teeth better.
Yeah. And I think that's something again that has been evident with the advent of InsurTech. Now insurance can go beyond. Insurance can now go beyond just a prevention, but also you can use it to change behavior. Improve health,
and it's a little bit of gamification.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and it's really an interesting prospect. It just helps the industry to see what the opportunities are that technology can help, to bring. Apart from this, are there other use cases, about embedded insurance that you have done or you are looking to go into that you can share with us?
I mean, to give you another example, we spoke lately to landlords who digitalized the whole renting process. And we're not there yet, but the next step will be to include household insurance, which is in Austria a pretty complex product, but every landlord is happy when his rentee has a household insurance. And if you are able to include that into the renting process, it's very easy. And it gets cheaper.
Okay. I mean, this has to be one interesting conversation because embedded insurance is gaining more traction, and it's seeming of insurance, especially where insurance is not, like you mentioned earlier, insurance is not interesting to sell. A lot of people find it very difficult to want to buy insurance, despite having gotten a new car, a new house, or a new household item. This is actually very good to see that insurance is actually taking the lead in that space, especially in Austria. But apart from embedded insurance, what does the future hold for insurance, especially under your own leadership?
I see simply the necessity of digitalization in insurance. Very little is done so far, as I pointed out. So there will be a large change in the future. Insurance will be sold and bought as every other product, digital. And there are different ways to do so. One way is embedded. We believe in that. Do that. We also specialize in that. But there are many others like Koya or Lemonade who try another way. They do B2C business, very successful, very good. And I'm very confident that will change in the very near future. Don't forget that especially the younger people in Austria, I mean, they're used to that kind of buying things, and they are somehow, I mean, it's unreal to have the necessity to contact a broker, then to sign
with someone
with the pen, then waiting 14 days to get the policy. I mean, that's all not real anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking about, the customer experience in terms of buying things, changing, right? There's this thing as well that we are seeing as regards, online marketplaces and insurance being embedded in those platforms. We see the likes of Amazon, doing something like that, and testing out things in that space. What are your thoughts about, insurance and, the e-commerce industry? Is that something that we definitely should be going on? I mean, there are a lot of engagements on that platform because people go there to buy things.
Yeah. And unfortunately, Amazon isn't a client of us, but I mean, they show already that this is possible and it is done. I mean, they do that already.
Yeah.
And to give you another very funny, Mercedes quitted all sales contracts in Austria. They simply quitted it. If you want to buy a Mercedes now, these days, you can only buy it directly at Mercedes on their webpage. There are no dealers anymore. None. Not a single one. And of course, they already got together with an insurtech to build them the car insurance, because when you're on their homepage buying a car, of course they will offer the insurance with it. I mean, that's the next logical step. That's the beauty of embedded insurance.
Yeah,
makes it.
I mean, this is honestly the future of insurance, and you've done well to actually explain, especially with examples, on how insurance is going to be perceived, in the future. But in all of this, what would you advise, especially for human capital space? Because then again, all of the underwriting skills, all of the insurance acquired skills to change, and now that we're moving to a more digitalized insurance industry, it means that some of those skills that were acquired before, I'm sure because you've worked in traditional insurance industry, you would honestly understand what I'm saying.
Well, I really think that you have to have a decent knowledge and understanding of digital processes. I mean, not everybody has to write the codes, but you should understand how these things work and get more into the client. I mean, don't forget, in Austria, again, I don't know much about Nigerian insurance, but in Austria, the real client of the insurance is the broker. So the end client is not there. And the whole process looks like that. So it's not very friendly for the customer, and that will have to change in the future. And we need people in insurance who see that as their target and as their occupation, to make insurance easy, accessible for the end client and not for the broker.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I can tell you that even in Nigerian spaces, the brokers market, right? And so that has, like you said, made it that there are not so many touch points for insurance companies with the customer, the direct customer. And so technology now is saying that all of this customer engagement needs to change. So in speaking to insurers, or for insurers who are listening to you now, as they embrace this future of insurance, this embedded future, embedded finance, embedded insurance, what technological capabilities do you think are key? I mean, from all the engagements that you've been having, what are the challenges that are there? What are you going to tell insurers who are listening?
You said something very clever about the touch points. Just to point out that, for example, banks, they're driven by many contacts. I mean, you need your bank account every day or more times a day. And with an insurance contract, if it's very bad, like a life insurance, you might have 2 touch points when you buy it and when you get out the money. There's no other touch point. So some insurers they also try to produce apps, but nobody uses them because there are no touch points. So they have to change that view. So getting back to what insurers should try to develop. I mean, first of all, APIs. I mean, we produced an API for our clients and another one for the insurers. Guess what? We didn't use the one for the insurers once because they are not able to get the data. We sent them Excel sheets, which is,
Wow.
I mean, wow. Yeah. I think real-time policy issuing will be an issue in the future because fast delivery. I mean, if you buy something from Amazon, you get it next day to your door.
Yeah.
And most of the insurers, it takes them 10 or 14 days to produce a policy. That's not acceptable anymore. I know that it's quite hard for them because of their old IT systems, but that has to be changed. And of course, people would like to have digital claims management. I mean, your phone, getting your claims over the phone would be necessary because you do everything over your phone. So why not the claims?
I agree.
It's interesting that we sort of have like a replica of what is happening in Austria. So, I mean, Damola, this does not only happen to us here in Nigeria. As you mentioned all of these things, I think we can actually relate because it's about the same issues that we are currently facing.
And just to add, because Austria is so small, the German market is 10 times larger than the Austrian. Problems are pretty much the same.
It's interesting. It's interesting how the insurance industry, in different countries, but then some of the experiences are similar, and we can definitely see that there's a place for technology, there's a place for insurtechs to play a huge role. And I think Poulumi wanted to mention that we had Dr. Robin Kehrer, in Germany, and speaking about customer experience and how I know that you were speaking earlier about agents, dominating the market in Austria along with brokers, right? Agents are huge here as well, all right. But there's need for technology as well to improve some of the experiences, and I mean that's what we are keen about in InsurTech Business Series, how we can help the industry see that these opportunities are there and we need to take them, especially at the back of COVID.
Yeah, I fully agree. That's it's astonishing how backwards insurance is, but it has to do with the way they do their business. It has to do with the low interest for insurance, and of course it has to do that they still earn a lot of money. So there's no need to change, or they think there is no need.
Yeah, luckily for us, COVID-19 sort of fast-tracked that process. And so we're happy to see most of these technological changes and, fast-tracked digitalization in that space. But moving on from that, before we let you off, Ahmed, but one of the things we like to know, and we also like our audience to know, is what does the next few years hold for you, generally for Bsurance?
So, first of all, there are very few companies who do what we do. There are, 3 or 4 companies all over Europe who are really specialized in embedded insurance. So, our plan is to become the leading B2B2C insurance platform in Europe. Because, of course, Austrian market is much too small. So that's what we try to achieve in the next few years. Or maybe after this interview, even in Nigeria. Let's see.
I mean, that would be great.
So in terms of the insurance industry, in the next 5-10 years, what will be your prediction? What do you think that we'll begin to see across Europe, even across the world? We've seen Lemonade today, we've seen Hippo, we've seen Get Safe in Germany.
I'm not quite sure if there will be the so-called Kodak moment where they all collapse. No, I don't think so, because it uses up so much capital to found an insurance company that very few will get into that market. But the role of the insurers will change, and some parts of the earning process will be cut off, like sales or like administration, what we do. I think that will change in the future. And if insurers don't cooperate with these new digital ways of doing business, they will be cut down to their main work, which is collecting money and covering risk. That will stay with them because that's too expensive for somebody. But that's my point of view.
Yeah, sure. I mean, that's very valid, and yeah, thank you very much for that. It's really been a pleasure speaking with you, and a super exciting conversation. Learning about what you're doing and how embedded insurance really can change the industry. Thank you very much for joining us. It's been really a pleasure speaking with you.
Thank you very much. I hope I could give some insight into the Austrian insurance market.
Could you tell us how, or tell our audience how people could, reach out to you, especially when you're trying to learn, what insurance is doing, or for, sponsorships or partnerships? Either
sure. Of course, we have a web page, which is besurance.com. My name should be, or my email address should be written down, but it's herman.fried@besurance.com. And I'm very happy to receive some questions or other comments. Thank you.
Hi, and I hope you did enjoy that conversation. Quite interesting one. Do ensure that you continue to listen to our podcast and share as well with your colleagues and friends future episodes and even previous ones on Apple, Spotify, Google Podcasts, on every platform that you get your podcasts.
Right, and also don't forget to join the conversation on all of our social media platforms. We might have comments, reviews, as well as questions. Please do share on our LinkedIn page, on our Twitter page, as well as remember to follow us.